One moment, they were Hollywood's ultimate power couple. The next, George Clooney reportedly divorced Amal immediately after a jaw-dropping event shook their world. The whispers aren't just rumors, they're clues to something far deeper, darker, and more explosive than anyone could have imagined. Let us uncover the truth behind what tore this golden duo apart, and why the fallout is something no one could see coming. The fragile bond of Hollywood's power couple. Who was Amal? Oh, just a brilliant human rights lawyer taking on cases that make you question if you've done enough with your life. Together, they were the couple everyone loved to obsess over. Red carpets, charity events, and photo ops that looked straight out of a rom-com. They had it all, until rumors hit the tabloids like a ton of bricks. But the real shock wasn't in the rumors themselves. It was in what they didn't say. The one secret that had been buried so deeply, even the tabloids couldn't dig it up. Apparently, the fairy tale might be over. Whispers of a sudden divorce started circulating, and the internet lost its collective mind. Why? Because this wasn't just any celebrity breakup. This was George and Amal, the A-lister and the world-changing lawyer. The couple who looked like they were pulled from a glossy magazine and glued onto the red carpet. And now, people are desperate to know what happened. Let's back up a bit. George Clooney has been a Hollywood icon for decades. If you've watched movies like Ocean's 11, The Descendants, or Up in the Air, you know he's not just a pretty face. He's got serious talent. And don't forget those 2 shiny Oscars on his shelf. But for the longest time, George was more famous for dodging marriage than he was for starring in blockbusters. He made being a bachelor look effortless, charming the world one press junket at a time. Then came Amal, smart, stunning, and with a resume that reads like a to-do list for saving the planet. She's represented big-name clients like Julian Assange and taken on cases involving genocide and war crimes. Basically, she's the kind of person who'd make you feel guilty for complaining about your workload. When George and Amal got together, it felt like a modern fairy tale. Beauty, brains, and a shared love of philanthropy. What could go wrong? Apparently, a lot. The gossip mills claim that George Clooney filed for divorce on the spot after something major went down. What that something is depends on who you ask. Some sources say it was a clash of priorities. Amal's high-profile career and George's Hollywood commitments reportedly put a strain on their relationship. Others whisper about family disagreements or personal betrayals. Whatever it is, the details are murky, but the headlines have been relentless. Think about it. They had built this image of being the power couple. Amal brought sophistication to George's movie star glow, and he gave her global visibility for her humanitarian work. Together, they seemed unstoppable. But now, with all these rumors flying around, people are left wondering if the perfect picture was just a well-curated illusion. Public scrutiny only added fuel to the fire. Every move they made was analyzed, every smile dissected for hidden meanings. It's hard enough keeping a marriage alive without the world's cameras zooming in. For someone like Amal, who had a career long before George Clooney came into the picture, the constant spotlight probably wasn't easy to navigate. Add in their wildly different worlds, Hollywood glitz versus international courtrooms, and you've got a recipe for tension. Then there's the endless speculation about kids. Every tabloid seemed obsessed with whether they'd expand their family or not. Having twins back in 2017 only added fuel to the fire. Did they argue over how to raise the kids? Did they disagree about their future? Nobody knows for sure, but it's the kind of pressure that'd test even the strongest relationships. Parenting, especially when you're living under a microscope, is no walk in the park. Let's not overlook how different their career paths were. Amal, with her world-shaping work, was often in courtrooms and high-stakes meetings, while George's life revolved around movie sets, premieres, and directing gigs. Sure, they'd show up together at glamorous events, but maintaining a relationship when your lives rarely overlap is a challenge for anyone, celebrity or not. Amal's high-octane career and George's Hollywood commitments may have looked glamorous from the outside, but behind closed doors, the strain must have been real. On top of that, there's the issue of public expectation. Fans wanted George and Amal to be perfect, not just a happy couple, but a symbol of love, power, and partnership. That's a lot of pressure to live up to, and even the strongest bond can buckle under the weight of such high expectations. The constant need to project perfection for the cameras probably didn't help matters. Then there are the whispers about George possibly wanting a slower pace of life. After decades in the spotlight, maybe he wanted to hit the brakes and enjoy a more relaxed lifestyle. Amal, on the other hand, has always been driven by her passion for justice and her commitment to making a difference. If their visions for the future didn't align, that could have created a rift that was hard to bridge. If the rumors are true and George Clooney really did pull the plug on their marriage, the headlines will be relentless for months. Every detail will be dissected, from their last public appearance to their next big move. But let's remember that the real story might never be fully known. And maybe that's okay. Not every love story ends with a happily ever after, but that doesn't make it any less significant. Whether George and Amal find their way back to each other or decide to go their separate ways, one thing is certain: their story has left an indelible mark. As individuals and as a couple, they've inspired countless people. Amal, with her groundbreaking work in human rights, and George, with his contributions to film and philanthropy, have proven that they're forces to be reckoned with, both together and apart. Love stories that seem perfect often have untold challenges, and George and Amal's is no different. A tale of friendship and fame. Let's get this straight. Hollywood friendships don't exactly have a reputation for standing the test of time. All those red carpets, award season snubs, and competitive egos usually mean friends forever. Lasts about as long as a box office flop stays in theaters. But then there's George Clooney and his trusted partner in crime, the golden pair who've somehow managed to keep their bond intact for over 20 years. And yes, they're still riding that wave, even though the rest of Hollywood's friendships have gone the way of Clooney's bachelor lifestyle, outdated and retired. Their little tale of camaraderie kicked off way back in the year 2000 on the set of Ocean's 11. You'd think two huge stars would circle each other like wary cats, but nope, sparks flew. Platonic sparks, that is. According to Clooney, who loves a good soundbite, they hit it off instantly. And just like that, they were off to the races. Not in the romantic sense, relaxed tabloids, but in the let's make millions on screen together while having a blast sense. A win-win, right? From there, they hopped onto the Hollywood conveyor belt of sequels and side projects. Ocean's 12, because when has Hollywood ever resisted cashing in? Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Money Monster, and more recently, Ticket to Paradise. Every movie featured that patented Clooney and company banter that's half charm, half eye-roll-worthy sarcasm. Critics called it chemistry. Skeptics might call it showing up for a paycheck with a buddy you tolerate. Either way, the formula worked. Moviegoers lapped it up, and their partnership became something of a brand. If Hollywood's favorite friends was a stock, you'd want to invest. Off-camera, their dynamic is one part mutual support and two parts elaborate prank war. Clooney, famous for being Hollywood's resident joker, met his match in his co-star. She's no saint either when it comes to on-set antics. Together, they've violent methods, co-stars and crew alike, with endless pranks. One has to wonder, does this humor stem from genuine affection or just boredom during endless takes? Whatever it is, it's been good for headlines. And then there's the personal stuff. Clooney spent the early 2000s convincing the world he was a permanent bachelor, only to blindside everyone by marrying Amal Alamuddin, an accomplished human rights lawyer, in 2014. By 2017, he had twins. Roberts herself is no stranger to the spotlight. She's navigated her own roller coaster of fame, family, and film flops. Let's not pretend every movie was a Pretty Woman. But through it all, there's Clooney, ready to gush about her talent, humor, or whatever other compliment will make headlines that day. In return, Roberts is quick to call Clooney her favorite co-star or share a cute anecdote about their friendship. It's almost like they're trying to keep their brand alive. Cynical? Maybe. But Hollywood thrives on nostalgia, and these two have plenty to go around. No Hollywood friendship is complete without a side of public intrigue. Clooney's personal life has always been fodder for gossip rags, so when whispers of trouble in paradise popped up about his marriage, it didn't take long for Robert's name to get dragged into the narrative. Did she really break her silence about Clooney's rumored issues? Hard to say, but even if she didn't, the gossip machine loves to spin a good tale. Roberts and Clooney's friendship, solid as it might be, isn't immune to Hollywood's favorite pastime, creating drama where there might not be any. Expanding beyond the publicized moments, the longevity of their friendship may rest on something less glamorous than Hollywood likes to admit: workplace camaraderie. For decades, the set of a film has been a second home to actors, and shared hours under hot lights or repeating lines dozens of times often forges connections that might not develop anywhere else. Clooney and Roberts exemplify this phenomenon. In the dozens of interviews and press junkets they've done together, there's a visible ease between them. It's the kind of casual banter that usually doesn't survive in an industry where publicists and egos loom large. Perhaps their friendship is less a miraculous anomaly and more a byproduct of shared career paths. Still, the constant polishing of their Hollywood's best buddies image raises eyebrows. For all the pranks and laughter, there's a very intentional marketing machine at play. Their shared projects have netted hundreds of millions of dollars, and a good chunk of that is owed to the story of their partnership off-screen. Audiences aren't just buying tickets for the film, they're buying into the relationship that's been carefully curated over decades. It's a strategy that's worked well for both of them, and it's part of why their friendship has stayed front and center in the public consciousness. Let's not forget how rare their bond is in a world dominated by fierce competition. Hollywood is notorious for being a dog-eat-dog world, where actors often see each other as threats rather than allies. It's worth questioning whether Roberts and Clooney's friendship has endured partly because they're rarely competing for the same roles. Their careers have taken distinct paths. Roberts as America's sweetheart, and Clooney as Hollywood's debonair everyman. There's little overlap, which might explain why their friendship has remained untainted by professional jealousy. Even with all the goodwill, their friendship isn't entirely immune to public scrutiny. Clooney's foray into family life has often been juxtaposed with Roberts' well-documented challenges in maintaining privacy for her own children. Their vastly different approaches to balancing personal and professional lives have occasionally invited commentary about who's doing it better, an unfair and frankly tired narrative that plays into stereotypes about men and women in Hollywood. But for the most part, they've managed to sidestep the pitfalls that often drag long-term friendships into the mud. Every partnership has a star who stands out, the dual lives of Hollywood's sweetheart. Of course, longevity alone doesn't make a friendship admirable. What sets Clooney and Roberts apart is their willingness to lean into their public personas and laugh at themselves in the process. Whether it's Clooney roasting Roberts during award shows or Roberts sharing behind-the-scenes anecdotes that feel carefully vetted but still funny, they've mastered the art of self-aware celebrity friendship. They're in on the joke, and that's part of what makes their dynamic so appealing to fans. Let's talk about Julia Roberts. You know, the America's sweetheart, whose grin could light up a room, or apparently distract you from thinking too hard about her career choices. Born to actor parents, Betty Lou and Walter Roberts, Julia practically grew up with the smell of theater dust in her nostrils. Her parents ran some artsy little thing called the Atlanta Actors and Writers Workshop, so it's not exactly shocking that she ended up in Hollywood. When you're raised with parents staging monologues in the living room, what else are you gonna do? Sell insurance? Please. Julia's early years weren't exactly glitzy. After trudging through Campbell High School, no scandals there, boring, she briefly dabbled in higher education at Georgia State University. But, shocker, college didn't stick. Instead, she packed up and headed to New York City, chasing her big break. Spoiler, she got it, but not right away. Her acting debut came with a small role in the TV show Crime Story in 1987, where she played a juvenile intimate victim. Then came Satisfaction in 1988, a film no one talks about because, frankly, it's not worth talking about. But hey, everyone's got to start somewhere, right? Fast forward to 1990, and Julia hit the jackpot with Pretty Woman. Suddenly, she wasn't just an actress. She was a phenomenon. People couldn't get enough of her hooker with a heart of gold act. The film was a box office smash, and Julia had officially arrived. Did the script have depth? Not really. Did people care? Absolutely not. From there, her career became a roller coaster of romantic comedies, dramas, and the occasional dud. My Best Friend's Wedding in 1997 and Notting Hill in 1999 solidified her as the go-to for romantic leads. Then came Erin Brockovich in 2000, where she ditched the rom-com fluff and won an Oscar. You'd think that would have marked a new era of serious roles, but no. She wasn't about to give up the paycheck-friendly charm of crowd pleasers. Julia's collaborations with George Clooney began with Ocean's 11 in 2001. Their chemistry was undeniable, mainly because they seemed to genuinely like each other. Hollywood's fake friendships are a dime a dozen. But this one seemed real. They followed it up with Ocean's 12 and a few other projects, including Ticket to Paradise in 2022, where their banter carried the film more than the plot ever could. Rumors about George's personal life eventually brought Julia into the conversation. The internet loves drama, and any comment she made was carefully dissected, analyzed, and memeified, because that's just how we roll in the 21st century. Did she reveal anything groundbreaking? No. But her presence always seems to add fuel to the fire, ensuring that neither she nor George will ever be far from the spotlight. Meanwhile, Julia's personal life is pretty tame. She's been married to cinematographer Daniel Moder since 2002, and they've got 3 kids. She keeps her private life well. Private. For someone who's been in the spotlight for decades, that's an achievement in itself. While she's still working, her recent projects include Leave the World Behind and narrating Lisa Marie Presley's memoir. She's clearly prioritizing family over fame these days. Now about her friendship with Clooney. These two have managed to stay close despite Hollywood's notorious knack for chewing up relationships and spitting them out. They've pulled pranks, praised each other in interviews, and generally behaved like two people who genuinely enjoy each other's company. It's refreshing, sure, but also a little nauseating in that, oh look, they're just like us kind of way. Except they're not. They're absurdly rich, absurdly famous, and can probably order room service in their sleep. Julia's career, much like her public persona, is a mix of charm, talent, and calculated choices. She's not the risk-taker who'll star in some indie film for the sake of art. She's a brand, and she knows it. And hey, it's worked for her. But don't let the dazzling smile fool you. Behind the glitz and glam, Julia's as savvy as they come, navigating Hollywood's murky waters like a pro. Julia's rise to fame wasn't handed to her on a silver platter, even if her parents' artistic inclinations nudged her in that direction. She's always known how to play the long game, whether that meant starring in crowd pleasers or carefully avoiding scandals that could have derailed her career. Her charm lies in her relatability. Even when it's carefully manufactured, she knows the power of a smile, a laugh, and just the right amount of mystery to keep people intrigued. So, what do you think? Has Julia mastered the art of staying relevant, or is she just playing it safe? Drop your thoughts in the comments, like, and subscribe.